Alright, here's the thing. Every time Apple comes up with a new innovative product in the market, it kind of messes up or doesn't seem to be highly appreciated by people at first. For example, the multi-billion-dollar project, the Apple Vision Pro, a product that showed us how spatial computing might look like in the future, or recently the iPhone Air, people criticizing who asked for a thin phone with so many compromises. But the iPhone Air might be the finest piece of bad brilliant tech Apple has ever made. And how it's a pre-planned strategic setup for the upcoming iPhone, which nobody's talking about in detail? Or is it just a hot, slim, expensive side chick in the phone world, which can only be with you for a few hours, like any multi-millionaire or billionaire stories that you might have heard of? Okay, that was a quite clumsy metaphor though, but let's find out the truth. As I said in an earlier video, that this segment of iPhone has always been a testing ground for Apple. From being a shrunken phone, the Mini, to the iPhone 16, which sat between the base and the Pros, and recently the Air, with major compromises to achieve the slim factor. And yes, we have to totally agree upon the fact that the Air has a major drawback when it comes to a $999 flagship phone. I call it the compromise impact, as there's cut down in cameras, no ultra-wide, no telephoto sensor, just one single fusion camera, one less GPU core, a mono speaker, eSIM-only device globally, USB 2.0 in 2025, which feels absurd at some point, and the biggest concern, high diminution battery life, which can last 4 to 5 hours in heavy usage, and in normal usage, probably for just a day. However, apart from just concerns, this phone is a genius piece of intricate and detailed engineering. Let me explain. The camera bump that you see on top, which Apple calls it the Plateau, the majority of the components, from the computing logic board with CPU and GPU to memory, are compressed into this small space, and the rest of the bottom part is all bedroom. Just for a moment, look at this. Here's the anatomy of Samsung's thinnest phone, the Samsung Edge, and here's the iPhone Air. So now we can understand how difficult it is for a phone to be so slim without any compromises. As Marcus aka MKBHD says, beauty is pain. But Apple already knew what was coming for them. They already knew that people wouldn't choose the iPhone Air for just being so slim. So to compensate that problem, Apple gave the base model the best features, almost like the Pros. An 18 megapixel front camera, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, ProMotion LTP OLED display, 256GB starting storage, and also bigger battery than the Air. And to be honest, the base iPhone has never been so good and solid ever in my opinion. The Pros are even more pro now. Best cameras with top filmmaking features, best processor with Apple's first ever vapor chamber cooling. This time Apple made this segment quite clear for specific audiences. But what people don't realize is that the iPhone Air looks and feels like the iPhone from the future. Like the iPhone 4, iPhone X, and the iPad Pro, but in more strategic and pre-planned way, as the Air is said to be other half of the coming iPhone. It's got all it needs to be a fold. It's super thin. When you combine both of them together, it's almost the size of the Samsung Fold 7, and it's obvious as the Fold 7 is a real competition in the fold segment market right now. And from business and marketing point of view, this is called product seeding or market seeding. Releasing a product that indirectly introduces the design language, hardware compromises, or consumer mindset needed for the next product, just like Samsung did with its Edge before launching its Fold. Apple is also doing the same with the Air now. And yes, Apple's iPhone is probably about to get launched by next year. After analyzing all the aspects, here's the conclusion. Apple might start a new segment called the Air very soon, as the Air is not attached to the iPhone 17 series. And the Air segment has always been about slim, stylish design with compromise over features, just like the existing MacBook Air, targeting who loves design over specs. So is the iPhone Air the best iPhone for just being so slim? I would say it's a horrible phone, especially if I talk about battery point of view. I feel that at least they should have gone with the silicon carbon battery with the Air this time, which we might see from next year in all iPhones. But that's how almost every iPhone battery life story has been for years. The only big shit that we saw in the battery is with the Pros this year, if I'm not wrong. And from innovation point of view, it's a fine piece of crafted engineering according to me. And you can finally say that Apple is finally doing things what truly makes Apple. And let's be real, no matter how much we complain or yap, the iPhone Air might be in Apple's pipeline or in R&D department for years. And if you ask why anybody would buy a single camera phone in 2025, believe it or not, the iPhone 16e, which was a single camera phone, and I have also marked that phone at some point for not being a budget iPhone anymore, but it's one of the best selling phone in the most phones sold chart. And just look around you for a moment. Samsung tried its level best with the Edge, but it didn't generate high results like the Air, along with many other companies. But when Apple launches something, it becomes a mainstream discussion, whether it's negative or positive. And if you're worried about what about the thermals, wouldn't the camera Plateau heat up for housing A19 Pro chip? Well, Apple already said it will heat up, but not directly. Just watch this video.
iPhone Air demands the most efficient, high-performance chip we've ever built for iPhone, and that is A19 Pro.
This is the most powerful chip ever made for any iPhone. But power generates heat. So we designed a new cooling system. This cycles the ionized water between liquid and gas within a vapor chamber laser welded to the chassis that rapidly dissipates heat throughout the unibody.
At the end of the day, I just want to say it's just a phone. Don't take things so seriously, man. You have got so many other options in the market. And honestly, I'd say Apple has taken a good decision this year, as the 16 Plus almost looks similar to the base. This new segment now serves a new consumer and allows the base model to shine even more with value for money. Therefore, the Air is for those who want something new in the hand feel. If you want to say impression in front of people saying, I have got the world's slimmest lap phone in my hand. And the best idea will be you can gift it to your parents who uses their phone quite less. So here's how the future iPhone lineup might look like. First will be the base, then the Plus is replaced by the Air, then Pro, Pro Max, and finally you get an iPhone. And I leave it on you now. Is the iPhone Air a hot expensive side chick in the phone world, or it can be your daily driver like a loyal partner? Do let me know in the comments. So until next time, hasta la vista, adios, and peace out.